Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Thomas and I'll be reading the Week 8 quiz to you. The questions and the answer options. This quiz is worth 21 points and there are a total of 10 questions. Question number 1. The XYZ affair improved relations with France and led to a new military alliance with the Americans when they fought the British in the War of 1812. Was a diplomatic failure when the Americans refused to offer bribe money to French diplomats and resulted in increased tension between the U.S. and the French. Was a diplomatic failure when the Americans refused to offer bribe money to the French diplomats and resulted in increased tensions between the U.S. and the French. Was a political scandal involving Jefferson that attempted to remove Adams from power. Question 2. Why were the Alien and Sedition Acts controversial and opposed by men like Jefferson and Madison? They taxed the states heavily and caused an economic depression. The Sedition Act was seen as a violation of the First Amendment, free speech, and the Alien Acts as violating the Fifth and Sixth Amendments, the right to due process and a speedy trial. The President wrote the acts in secret and passed them without the consent of Congress. It stopped all immigration to the U.S., and Jefferson and Madison saw this as going against the democratic principles that the Constitution was based upon. Question number 3. Which statement best describes the election of 1800? The election showed that it was finally Thomas Jefferson's chance to be president, and he won in a landslide. The election showed that it was finally Thomas Jefferson's chance to be president, and he won in a landslide. John Adams would have won, but he and Aaron Burr got in a duel and he was killed, so Thomas Jefferson became president. No one won a majority of the Electoral College votes, so the decision went to the House of Representatives, who selected Thomas Jefferson as the next president. Question number 4. What is identified by the pink highlighted in the map? What is identified by the pink highlighted area in the above map? So let me read number 4 again. Question number 4, what is identified by the pink highlighted area on the above map? Navajo reservation land, the original 13 colonies, the Louisiana Purchase, or the land lost in the French and Indian War. Question number 5. Which of the following describes how the Louisiana Purchase changed Jefferson's thinking about the Constitution? He believed the power to buy land did not belong to the federal government, so he did not buy the Louisiana Territory. He believed the power to buy land did belong to the federal government, but he passed it up because it was too expensive. He believed the power to buy land did belong to the federal government, but thought it was wrong to buy it from France when it already belonged to the Native Americans. He believed the power to buy land did belong to the federal government, but did it anyway because it would double the size of the country and its resources. Let me read option D again here. It says he believed the power to buy land did not belong to the federal government, but did it anyway because it would double the size of the country and its resources. Question number 6. Blank is a form of patriotism that means being devoted to the interests and culture of your own nation, even if that devotion may bring harm to the other people or nations. Nationalism, democracy, fascism, or federalism. Question number 7. Which of the following was not a cause of the War of 1812? British attempts to restrict trading by the United States. The British want revenge on the United States for the Civil War, impressment of American sailors by the British, or alliances between the British and Native Americans. Question number 8. What was an impact of the War of 1812? A stronger sense of nationalism and period of political agreement, an emphasis on the right to bear arms, the U.S. ended all diplomatic ties with England, or an increased attention to states' rights. Question number 9. Choose the 3 statements that were terms included in the Missouri Compromise. Missouri agreed to prohibit slavery after 25 years of statehood, and then slavery would be allowed in half of the remaining Louisiana territory. Missouri was admitted to the Union as a slave state. Slavery was prohibited in new territories north of latitude 3630. Maine was admitted as a slave state, and settlers would vote for or against it when a new territory was made. Or Maine was admitted to the Union as a state that prohibited slavery. Question number 10. What was the message of the Monroe Doctrine? European countries were not to interfere in the Americas, and new European colonies were prohibited in the Western Hemisphere. The United States would assist European countries with their colonization efforts. It was an agreement between President Monroe and European leaders to never fight against each other in a war. It announced the United States would now be colonizing other parts of the world, including the Eastern Hemisphere. When you are done with your quiz, click on Submit Quiz so that the grade shows up correctly in your gradebook.